I'm Joseph,
And I'm Nick.
and this is Fish Jelly.
Children.
How are you?
It's a Robert Mitchum reference to Night of the Hunter.
Oh, we're so fortunate.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. It was a very busy week.
When is it not? When is it not?
Lots of things to do.
Oh, yes, dear
Still
child.
a busy day.
Uh-huh. Yeah. We're
Luckily,
having...
daylight savings gave us an hour today.
Oh,
so.
yes. Wasted already.
Because of the movie we watched, or?
Oh, no, I didn't. The movie didn't age as well, that we will be speaking of shortly in my mind, but no. And we have an interesting thing to do this evening.
This evening, we're having dinner with
Dolly De Leon,
who is one of the stars of Triangle of Sadness.
There you go. Get it.
Directed by
Ruben Östlund.
It's being hosted at a popular Filipino restaurant, which is actually like walking distance from our house. So I don't think we'll walk though. And yeah, I thought it seemed like a fun experience for several reasons, aided by the fact that it's so close to our home. But I'm also not super familiar with like Philippine cuisine. So I'm hoping to try some delicious food. I don't love sitting, you get invited to a lot of things that are kind of like this.
Yeah, odd.
Like social things. But the reason I don't, well, first of all, I don't get invited. You do, and then you can bring a guest. But the main reason I don't push going is because it's usually filled with like people who are so desperate to be around anyone who they think might be somebody.
I know. And yes. And then there's some rising indignation within me that's like, oh, I don't want to seem like that.
Yeah. So then it's like, I would only be here just to enjoy whatever.
I came here to be cute.
Well, it's like, yeah, because we did a thing once where like John Cameron Mitchell was supposed to
do bingo at
Hamburger Mary's. And I did enjoy it.
Well, because I won at bingo, but
you did win quite a pretty nice prize. And it was like, open bar, like order whatever you want for food. So that was fun. They did have us crammed together like sardines. And this was like, what, 8 months ago?
Yeah.
Like COVID was still a thing.
And I really don't like having to run around in a circle around the restaurant.
But well, that's just their tradition. But
I know, but it's like...
Whenever someone wins bingo, they make the person run around the restaurant and everyone throws things at them.
And
like,
shout something. Whatever. But I don't mind pretending like I'm in Freaks from
Todd
games. Browning's film.
I don't mind games, but it's just like, oh, people are so desperate. Well, also, I don't like the feeling of people getting like overly excited about free food and alcohol.
Right.
Again, I like it because it encourages people to like attend and let loose, and they're not worried about like what they have to pay for and
or what I have to write about.
But then it seems like people are just like, like, this is my one meal today. I gotta get it in. But maybe this will be different because the movie's a little more, it's not like they're doing an event for like the new Fast and Furious movie where.
Yeah, I have no idea who is going to be there. I've gotten several emails that are like, "Are you sure you're coming? Space is limited. Please let us know."
Yeah, the restaurant's not that big. Anyway, there was a question. We have several questions in the question section, but there was a question about, because Powerball's up to $1.9 billion. What would we do if we won 1.9 billion? I wonder if people know how much a billion is. A billion is a lot. Yeah. A billion is 1,000 millions. So that is an enormous amount of money. If we were to win 1.9, if a single ticket won the 1.9 billion, there are two options. You can get the cash payout, like a lump sum, or you can get an annuity. So I believe you get like, I don't know, it's like 30 payments over like 29 years or something. And if you pick the annuity, you end up getting more money versus the cash payout. They automatically take off a bunch. So I was trying to figure out by reading how much we would get. But if we won the 1.9 billion and took the lump sum with like state and federal and probably city taxes, you'd probably end up with around 600 million, which is significantly less than 1.9 billion, but still a shit ton of money. So if you won 600 million, what would you do with that?
Well, we'd buy houses in cities we'd want to live in, probably. Maybe one or two at least, and then finance a film or two.
Yeah, that's a
That
lot of money. So I feel like we could play with.
I would finance a couple of my own films. Yeah,
Um, yeah, I
as
would.
in indie films.
Yeah, of course. I mean, pay off debt, but of course that wouldn't be difficult with 600 million. I would say buy. Um, well, I'd want to buy like a couple of like a main house, and then a couple of cute spots and
Mm-hmm.
places. Like maybe one place where you like to visit, one place where I like to visit. I
Mm-hmm.
think buying family homes, which wouldn't cost that much money, like to buy our family key family members homes,
Mm-hmm.
like parents and siblings, that wouldn't take a lot of money. And then of course I'd want some cars, and then yeah, make a movie for sure. But you would still have like a ton of money left. So I feel like I would probably want to invest in like
Property
real
investment.
estate and
Yeah.
maybe like some franchises, like open up some Chipotle's and
Oh
some.
boy. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
um, obviously quit my job.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that'd be
Obviously
done.
quit my job. The cars I'd want, I don't want flashy. Actually, our main home, I wouldn't want to be that
Wait, would
flashy
you
either.
not continue the YouTube channel if you were a billionaire?
I would, but it would be probably something that it'd probably be something where like, yeah, I would, but there wouldn't be enough time to do it as much as we do now.
Well, with that money, you would hire somebody to edit for you.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have the FaceTime because I need to run businesses and
Oh boy.
yeah, I'm running businesses. I'm going to be a mogul. Like I'm going to have a real estate portfolio. Like, yeah, I'm not.
That's gonna make people wish that you don't win if they want to see you.
No, because I'd also want to start like, I mean, I definitely would want to find a way. I would love to develop with like the city, take 10 million and through the city build affordable housing and maybe do it through Section 8 but maybe specifically for like certain demographic of people, maybe
Mm-hmm.
like my fantasy would be to open up like a center for like trans people of color who are low income and find housing, and then maybe the state helps subsidize that, and it's not really for me to make money, of course break even, like I
Yes.
shouldn't have to spend money to help people that much, but well, no, you know what I mean, like if I put in the money and build
Well,
this
yeah,
thing,
I think it's more
I
beneficial
don't
than
think that
just
I should have to pay out of my pocket.
donating to charity
Exactly.
where you don't know how that money's used.
Right.
Yeah, of course. If you
I would want to break even, and that would be something that would probably be very passionate for me. Yeah, but I don't want to be super flashy. I wouldn't want to live in like a $35 million.
no, I don't want to live in Beverly Hills.
I want to live in Beverly Hills. I probably would want to live in like, honestly, I think finding like a really cute, like maybe $3 to $4 million home in like Silver Lake,
Silver Lake, Berlin, Mexico City.
and then those places, yeah, spend like under $1 million
Mhm.
each to get a cute. I'd probably want like condos in those places where they're
Sure.
like self-contained, and I don't have to worry about someone watching it. And
Well,
yeah,
this is a fantasy that is probably
yeah,
not
I
going
don't
to
know.
happen.
This went on way too long. Also, this is older news, but I had written it down, so I feel like I should say it. About Julia Roberts telling the story of
Oh, how
how
about MLK and Coretta paid for?
her birth, basically.
Yeah.
Which if people don't know, you can just Google it. But basically, like Julia Roberts' mom owned like
I think an acting school.
it was like a performing arts
Yeah.
academy, but
Yes.
and she was approached by the Kings, I believe specifically Coretta, asking if their children could attend because, of course, in the 1960s, having having these black children attend a performing arts school was probably complicated due to segregation.
Mm-hmm.
And then the way Julia Roberts tells it is that her mom said, of course, and then they became friends. So when Julia was born, they were having trouble paying for the medical bills, and the Kings paid. But what I thought was interesting is I forget which show she was on. It was either like Jimmy Fallon or Kimmel or something. When she was asked about it, she kind of played it off like, oh, I don't want to talk about it, which I thought was kind of weird. I think I
Well,
would.
that's private.
It is.
That's private family business, and I'm sure she doesn't want to seem like. Yeah, I can see how you'd want to be maybe touchy about that.
You're right that it's private, but I think she was being touchy in a way that was like she was kind of like embarrassed, and I felt like I don't know. If it were me, I'd be like can you believe, like, what an honor, and like, I can't believe, and
Yeah, for sure.
she wasn't like that at all. But I'm not saying anything about her. I just thought, what an interesting story for someone who's like an A-list person to
Hmm.
have, and then to
Yeah.
play it off like, I'm not implying that she gave the vibe of like, I don't
Oh,
want to talk about that because I'm a bigger deal than that story.
I don't think that's what she meant. There's
I
probably
don't think
maybe
either.
there's more details about it that mm,
Maybe she
aren't
feels
as
like it's
glorious, but
yeah, maybe she feels like their charity is not to be exploited.
yeah.
So I respect that. It's just such an interesting story, and the way she responded to it was like, I would think she also responded like she wasn't prepared. But I feel like if MLK and his wife paid for your medical bills and you're now a super famous person, I would think you'd have a very well thought out response to those questions, like that question. And
Mhm.
she seemed like she was shocked that someone knew and would ask her. I think that's why I was kind of like, you don't think anyone would ever like ask you about that,
Sure.
considering you're like a super famous person yourself, that like you should probably have something ready. Moving on, how old do you think Tony Collette is?
Oh, she is probably older than she looks. Or yeah, because or she's younger than she looks, I think.
You think she's young? Her actual age is less than what she looks like.
Wait, how am I phrasing this? I think she looks
I
good for
think
her
she looks
age.
young. I think she looks older than her age.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I think she's
How old do you
okay.
think she is?
I thought what, like 55?
Her birthday was last week. She turned 50.
Oh, okay. Well, she's been around a minute.
I think she looks a little older, but also in my mind, she's been around a long time. So I think I expected her to be older. I'm not trying to be shady. I was just shocked when I saw that she had just turned 50. I thought she was probably like 60.
Oh, okay. No, no, I think she looks. I think she
What
looks
year is
40.
Muriel's wedding?
94.
94. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Yeah. No, she looks
What's the,
great.
she did a movie. God, I want to say 2002, 3, 4, somewhere in there. I don't think I ever watched it, but with Matthew Broderick, and she plays this like sex bombshell, and she looks fantastic in it. You know, I think that she, you know, the thing with Toni Collette is she's not afraid to make herself be ugly in
Sure.
films, and I think that messes with people's perception of age as
Sure.
well.
And we just saw her in The Estate, which I
Hmm.
don't think is out yet.
Yeah, it came out Friday.
Oh, it did come out
Hmm.
Friday? I think she looks great in
Yeah,
that.
no, I think she looks good.
Okay, so there were some questions. First, if you could recast a film, which would it be, and who would you recast?
Which is
So
a really good question.
so
And
only you have answers to this, so go
well,
ahead.
this person had a really great example with the film Three Women, a Robert Altman film from I think '77 with Sissy Spacek and Shelley Duvall, uh, and it's in my top 10 of all time. It's my only top 10 film of all time that Joseph has not watched.
Which
Uh,
is what? Three
Three
Women.
Women.
Yeah.
You're not listening to me. And recasting the third woman as Geraldine Chaplin, which would have been a fantastic idea because I love Chaplin, especially in the '70s. Um, she did a great film called Remember My Name with Anthony Perkins that I feel like nobody talks about, among many other things. But yes, I'm a big fan of Geraldine Chaplin, and that would have been fantastic casting as the third woman. But of course, I had a couple brief examples. The Rose Tattoo, which Anna Magnani won her Oscar for and learned to speak English for, a role that was written for her by Tennessee Williams. Burt Lancaster always bothered me as the love interest, and I wanted somebody, you know, a little more Italian, like maybe Gian Maria Volante. A film like The Kitchen, which came out a couple of years ago, I always say if that had been made in the '70s, in The Kitchen, of course, stars Melissa McCarthy, Tiffany Haddish, and Elizabeth Moss. But can you imagine if that film had been made in the '70s, starring Shelley Winters, Pam Grier, and Sissy Spacek? That would have been mwah. Uh, and what else? Bridges of Madison County, Clint Eastwood originally approached Sigourney Weaver,
Oh boy.
but she flubbed the interview. He got pissed at her because she wasn't really listening to him talk about. I think he brought a restoration of the Oxbow incident to Cannes, and she was like, "Oh, I didn't realize you directed that," and he got all huffy. And of course, that role went to Meryl Streep. And then something like a lot of roles where the Broadway originator didn't get to be in the film, like BB Newirth in Chicago. Yes, Catherine Zeta-Jones is good in that film, and she didn't win an Oscar, but I would have loved to see BB Newirth on film in that role, which of course she didn't originate, but blah, blah, blah. Anyway, yeah, that's a good question. Yeah.
Next, another question for you. Do you watch TV series or TV movies, especially the current trend of limited series, which probably would have been films 10 to 15 years ago, with the same professional lens that you watch cinema, or do you strictly save that critical eye for future releases?
I think that's a good question. And well, because
Well, I feel like you're not supposed to say it's a good question because it's implying they're a bad question.
no, it's a question I like. Sorry, my personal bias is I like that question because, um, yes, that I don't want to imply there are bad questions. Uh, uh,
Do you? So
because
I'll repeat. Do you want me to repeat it?
no,
Okay.
I think that I use the same rubric that I use for everything else. But within that, even within film, I think we need to take into consideration intentions and context, as in everyday life, as in who would this. Maybe I'm not the intended audience, but I can still appreciate something, for instance, or do I realize that they probably didn't have the money to realize a full vision, or are you aware of certain things happening in the background? And for television films, you can have a really good television film that's obviously not being as adult as it probably could be, but you can still really like it, or the parameters, the extended parameters of a television series, like Big Little Lies or something, which I think would have made a better film in my personal opinion, at least the first season. But how to criticize and speak to what it's doing based on the intentions of the final product, if I'm articulating that well enough. But in short, yes, but always there's things taken into consideration, which I feel like speaks to why I'm probably overtly harsh on big budget mainstream films, because you have all the bells and whistles. You have everybody that's having potentially an opportunity to say what they want to. And yes, just because a studio might limit certain things because they want this to be made for everybody to be able to consume, uh, there are ways to be interesting and subversive and intelligent. And I just see that lost at that level more often than not. And I think that's because people get lazy, because they think people are going to buy tickets to this stuff no matter what. And then people get really touchy when you criticize that stuff, like Mark Wahlberg or Johnny Depp. And they're like, these films aren't meant to be criticized. And like, well, these are exactly the films you should be criticizing because you have access to everything. Anyway.
Lastly, how do we feel about Nick Cannon having all of these kids? I feel like that's a setup because obviously I think it's ridiculous that this person has 11 children with 6 different women, and one of those 6 women is pregnant with his 12th child, and one of his children died like I think a year ago. So, yeah, it just seems excessive. And that man has lupus. Like he has health problems. I'm not a parent, so I don't know, but my assumption is that children need attention,
Mm-hmm.
like from their parents. And, as someone who grew up in kind of like a normal upbringing where like normal as in like for someone my age, where my mom was a stay-at-home mom, my dad went to work. So my mom was home a lot, and my dad was usually only home at dinner time and didn't really foster us the way mom did. I feel like that's kind of a normal upbringing for people my age or older. So then you think like Nick Cannon has 11 children from 6 different women, which means they're not even in the same house.
Of course.
So he is
He's got a little
separate.
commune. Yeah.
It would be better if he had a commune,
Right.
but like these kids are spread out and they're probably like East Coast, West Coast, down south, who knows. And then 2 of those are by, Mariah Carey. So I'm sure she's very particular about how he's involved. It just seems kind of like, why would you want to spread your seed and have this little army of kids who you can't really devote enough time to?
But that's an interesting movie, like The Estate, when he dies and he has money to give away, and all those children maybe meet for the first time in the same place.
That would make an interesting story.
But I agree with I don't know what's the point of it, and I assume that I think our brains automatically assume like, well, maybe some of these women see that as a really nice way to secure a comfortable future. Who knows? I don't mean to cast aspersions on these people I'll never meet, but if Nick Cannon's doing what a lot of people have done. I mean, we need Eddie Murphy's done this, Lil Wayne has done this, Ingmar Bergman has done this. So it's men who have power and means and access, and that's the result in heteronormative.
Well, we find a lot of people with money tend to want large families because they can afford it. And also there's this idea of a legacy. Like people think that, I'm a millionaire because of my plumbing business. Like I want to have like, I, I don't know. I think it's really odd that people want to have like a legacy. And it's like, I mean, just because you have money doesn't mean you are.
Just because you could doesn't mean, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Yeah.
I don't know. I
Well,
just,
remember Queen of Versailles, the documentary,
yes.
and that lady, that Las Vegas lady, that's like, well, I wouldn't have wanted to have all these kids if I knew I would be the one stuck taking care of them.
Yeah. But to answer the question, I mean, I just think it's kind of like
It's irresponsible.
It seems irresponsible to have so many children that damn well you're not going to be spending time with. And like, I think a lot of times for people, again, who have means, they feel, even we just saw that movie, The Son, and Hugh Jackman's character is, I'm not going to describe the movie, but the way he reacts to his son, like, I had a shitty dad and I was able to pull myself out of that and make something of myself. And it's like, well, I don't know that being able to like have success, however you define it, negates the fact that people need love and attention, and children specifically. Like just because you were able to become a famous millionaire with not having a father present doesn't mean that baseline should be, I'm gonna have all these kids who essentially don't have a father who's present and they should be fine because I'm gonna pay for whatever they need. But again, I'm not a parent, so I don't know. I was also thinking of Kiki Wyatt,
yeah,
who was on a reality show. Do you remember which one? Now that I'm saying,
I thought it was R&B.
Was it R&B Diva? It was R&B Divas LA or Atlanta, one of the two.
I thought it was LA, but
either way, she has many children, and we saw her on this show where not only do we see that she had sort of she has all these children, but the husband she was with, there seemed to be problems. So it's like you're having relationship problems.
Wasn't he the one that was very controlling and always kind of hovering?
Yes. Yeah. But she has 11 children who she has birthed like herself. And which is also, we talk about Nick Cannon, but it's like Kiki Wyatt, just from the show, seemed to have like financial issues, relationship issues, emotional issues. And she's just cranking out these children. I don't believe that she's like a millionaire. Like, so it's just like, how is this even?
I just don't know why you would want. You never saw My Left Foot with Daniel Day-Lewis, did you?
No.
He's like that's a great film. Both he and Brenda Fricker won for that, I think 1989. But he's Ireland. He's like, his mother had like, I want to say like something astronomical, like 30 some children. It's like, do you know what that does to your body and your mind? And
again, I'm not, like, everyone knows I don't want children. I think the world's overpopulated. I think for most people, it seems irresponsible to even have children. That being said, we have to continue making people unless we want civilization to end. So I'm not saying no children. I just think having like multiple kids, like more than 3,
I don't know.
I think more than 2 seems like a lot, but
can't you apply the work-life balance to life at home? Like that's a lot.
Well, that's what I'm
work.
saying. How can you like give children the attention they need and foster like
in short,
all
you
the
can't.
things? Like, you can't when you have like 8 kids, 10 kids, 12 kids,
or like just like these wealthier families that have children and then the kids spend all the time with the nanny. I don't know that.
Well, that's a separate thing.
That's a separate issue, but I think that ultimately is not great either.
Why make babies to then have some other person take care of them, and then but between the nanny and the school teachers, it's like, what impact do you have? And the small impact you do have is probably going to end up resulting in a negative. Your children will have it. Just from my experience with my mom being a nanny and seeing how these kids grow up, I think they end up resenting.
Well, and I even have a very peripheral view of that, like years later. But a lot of these kids, like I've met some of these kids that were reared by your mother as the nanny, and they are very close. They're very passionate about your mother. They are very attached, seemingly. And then all the stories you hear about their biological parents that were in the same house, it's a bit more cold and estranged.
It's just interesting. But again, I don't have children. I don't have the desire or the ability to have children myself. So I don't want to say that it's like wrong or unnatural.
No,
it just seems like
to each their own, and what works for you works for you. But I don't know
who's the guy. Like these 70-year-old celebrity men having babies.
Oh, like Anthony Quinn, I think was in his 90s having kids.
But someone like this year, like an older male, just got his girlfriend pregnant and he's like 70. And it's like, okay, so when your kid graduates high school, you're going to be damn near 90. I feel like that's irresponsible.
Yeah.
Like, who wants to be in like starting college and thinking like my dad is like,
I'm gonna have to make funeral plans next week.
Beyond, I mean, he's not even a senior citizen. He's like knocking on death's door.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stress to put on a teenager.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then you can't, teenagers especially require a lot of energy and care because
And they require a lot of energy. Yeah.
and then the older you are, the more you are removed from them generationally. I feel like it's like you have no idea what they're being exposed to.
But now I can already see all the comments of people saying my parents were older and they did a good job.
Yes,
I'm not implying that
there are functional and happy examples of every type of organized family.
Okay, can we get through the films release we didn't cover in like 3 minutes? Let's go. Bardot.
Oh God, I didn't make you.
Is it Bardot or Bardo?
Bardo.
Oh, not like Bridget Bardot.
Not like Bridget Bardot or a Bordeaux bar.
Oh, from C's Candy.
Oh, he's triggered.
I love Bordeaux bars from C's Candy. P.O. Box is listed in the link. Go ahead.
So Bardo, the latest film from Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu, I saw and covered out of Venice. And it just played at the AFI Film Festival. You probably don't remember the stories, but it received such negative press that he said everyone was racist. Or something to that effect. And
according to Avenue Q, everyone is a little racist, but go ahead.
Again, that's a different conversation to unpack, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. But he recut it, so it is shorter, and it premiered I think the new version just premiered at AFI Fest, and it just was released. I think it came out on Netflix on Friday, but I didn't want to rewatch it. It's not the worst thing I've seen, but I didn't enjoy it, and I think you would have been irritated with me if I had asked you to watch it.
Dear Zoe,
there's a film directed by Gren Wells coming out this week, starring Sadie Sink, who you just saw in The Whale, and Jessica Capshaw, who is the daughter of Kate Capshaw, stepdaughter of Steven Spielberg.
Enola Holmes 2.
I didn't watch this because I didn't watch Enola Holmes 1, and Billy Bobby Brown is that her name?
Millie Bobby Brown
is not my favorite, but Harry Bradbeer returns to Enola Holmes, the sister of Sherlock, also starring Henry Cavill, who doesn't usually generate a lot of interest from me either.
Good Night, Opie?
Oppie.
Good Night, Oppie.
A documentary. I got so many emails about reviewing this, but it's about Opportunity, the Mars exploration rover that they call Oppie, by her creators at NASA, and she was supposed to be exploring Mars for only 90 days, but it ultimately ended up there for 15 years. So it's a documentary about that.
Longevity. Talking about longevity, darling.
Yes. Nick Cannon and Oppie.
Oh, or Cher. She knows about longevity. You know that they say she's dating this. She's dating Tyga's. Well, they were saying she's either dating Tyga or his best friend, who's the baby daddy of. Who's that lady who started the Slut March? Amber Rose.
Oh,
he's
Amber
like a 34-year-old guy, like rapper.
Okay.
So good for her, I guess. Apparently they met because Cher put her Malibu home up for sale for $85 million, and Tyga went to go look at it.
Okay, I'm sure.
But there are pictures of them like holding hands and.
Okay, well, good, get it. But yeah. I'm sure that she's interesting and fun in her way. But I don't know about longevity there. But.
We have to pause 1 second. Okay. Next is Meet Me in the Bathroom.
It's a new documentary about the New York music scene of the early 2000s, which does sound interesting, but I did not have the time.
Next, Exit.
Danny Elfman's daughter, Molly Elfman, who I've met. She used to work as a journalist covering Sundance. That's how I met her probably a decade ago. She directed a film called Next Exit.
Salvatore Shoemaker of Dreams.
Yes, that's.
There's a typo here.
There's a typo there. But it's Salvatore Ferragamo, Luca Guadagnino. This was released at the Venice Film Festival in 2020, but it comes out this week.
You know, I only know what Ferragamo is because, well, it's in rap lyrics from like the 90s, but also when I lived and worked in Vegas, there was a Ferragamo store at the Forum Shops. and I'd walk by it all the time and think those things are far too nice and expensive for me, but beautiful things. Something in the Dirt.
Oh God, I don't know what it is. I just really don't like Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson's films, and I don't think it's due to the writing or the narratives, because they're interesting ideas and interesting things. I think it's them. I think I just don't like seeing them on screen, and they usually cast themselves.
Oh, are those?
Yeah, I had this on out of Sundance this year.
Yes.
And you were like, yeah, that
I was like,
dry.
what is this?
It has, they, as all their films do, have their fans. But, I have to say I probably like Synchronic the best because it had Anthony Mackie and, oh God, Jamie Dornan standing in the roles that they themselves probably would have played. And I was just automatically... I just don't think they have any screen presence. I don't know. Anyway.
Lastly, Utama.
Alejandro Loaiza Grisi has a film open called
Grisi.
If I'm saying
Crunchy.
Crunchy, about a couple that's forced to move due to a drought in the Bolivian highlands.
Oh, I should have added this to the question section, but someone asked where I got crunchy from.
Oh, yeah.
We were watching an episode of Chopped.
Yeah.
And for people who don't know, Chopped is a show on the Food Network, right? Hosted by one of the Ted from Queer Eye, the original Queer Eye.
Yeah, that also reminds me of keep going, sorry.
And there was an Italian gentleman, because it's like 3 people, and they get challenges where they get like a random box of ingredients and they have to make a dish from it. And there was an Italian gentleman who made something, and he had a very heavy accent, and something he made like in a non-traditional way, and he was describing like I guess it was like pasta or something, and he described it as being crunchy.
Yeah. And we laughed and adopted
and
it.
I cackled forever, so I've adopted that.
But that also reminded me of remember Epiphany Mattel is on that song by what's her name?
Latrice Royale. Where she says, I may be fat, but you're ugly and I can lose weight.
Yeah. But Epiphany Mattel is like, you're on the Real Food Network and you just got chopped.
Okay, moving on to movies you watched for fun. The Rainmaker.
Oh my God. This film.
Was I in the room?
Yes. It's the directorial debut of Joseph Anthony. And this is just another instance of how... it's why I don't like Meryl. I do really like Katharine Hepburn a lot. And, she holds the record for the most Oscar nominations. But it's like Meryl Streep.
Where the guy can predict, like... Isn't there a Mystery Science Theater movie where the lady can find rain? Or like
That's the thing that couldn't die? With Jessica.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, I could rewatch that.
That is a great Mystery Science Theater treated film.
Anyway, The Rainmaker.
The Rainmaker, 1956.
Where Katharine Hepburn's supposed to be a young woman.
And she is clearly not. And nothing against...
and they put little pink ribbons in her hair. Like she's a look.
Her brothers, one of whom is Lloyd Bridges.
Who's very handsome.
He's okay. Jeff
compared to the other two.
Oh, yes. The other two are like...
Who are the other two?
Her dad and father. Oh, the actors I don't recall off the top of my head. But Burt Lancaster is this huckster that comes in that tries to fleece people out of money for whatever. And he knows that this area has a drought. And he's like, well, if you pay me $100, I can do a dance and make it rain. And they're like, okay.
Does he actually produce rain?
Rain does come.
Okay.
But,
Does he end up getting the quote unquote girl?
Yes.
Katharine Hepburn is as much of a girl in this movie as Madonna is a girl.
No.
In 2000... when Girls Gone Wild came, or Girls Gone...
Like 2011?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really awkward. And she got an Oscar nod for this. And I think it got an Oscar nod for Best Score. Joseph Anthony, before this, was... I think had only done stage work. And Burt Lancaster, who is an Oscar winner, Elmer Gantry, is great. And I already demeaned this man by saying he shouldn't have been in the Rose Tattoo on this podcast. I do like Burt Lancaster, especially in The Killers when he was the Swede. But he's doing this thing that is like he's playing in the background of the room, but it's like, whoa, slow down. We're in a theater. It was difficult to watch. I did not like it. And Katharine Hepburn, horribly miscast.
Next is a movie called
Blind Theory.
Oh, I saw this disc in the DVD player when I put on The Secret Movie. And I thought, what's that skating movie, Blades of Fury?
Blades of Fury.
That's what I think I thought this was.
No, this is a 1989 film directed by Philip Noyce, starring Rutger Hauer, and I think that that combination made me curious along the time period. This is not good either. But it's basically a remake of Zatoichi Challenge, the blind samurai. So
Oh.
Rutger Hauer is this blind guy, and all the people that are really liking it, besides Rutger, like Meg Foster dies right away. She's usually at least something to watch, and it was very bland.
I watched a movie called The Christmas Setup. Are you familiar with this movie?
No.
It's a movie on a Christmas movie that was intended for the Lifetime.
Is this
network.
with Lindsay Lohan?
No.
Okay.
It was broadcast in 2020. It stars Fran Drescher.
Oh, I am. Okay, yes.
It's directed by
Pat Mills direct this?
Yes.
Oh, I like Pat.
It was hard to sit through.
Yeah. I mean, it's a Lifetime Christmas movie.
It has all the beats of like, like there's someone who's kind of like a Scrooge or like doesn't believe in whatever during the holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course there's someone who comes in and shows them like the holiday spirit or shows them love, and then all's well that ends well. So it has that formula. But this is an example of like just having such an unlikable person in the lead role. But yeah, Fran Drescher plays this mom who has like an adult son. She lives in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, they keep talking about Milwaukee like it's a small town. It was so annoying. Like Milwaukee is a pretty big major city.
Mm-hmm.
But she has a gay son. She has two sons. One of them is gay, and he's like a fancy lawyer in New York. And then she has another son who's in the military, who's unbelievably attractive, especially compared. I mean, like, who's their dad? If it's Fran Drescher and this guy, and then
Fran Drescher's beautiful, though.
She is beautiful, but then she and her gay son are brunettes, and then this guy is like, he looks like, yeah. I mean, he looks like if you mix like a G.I. Joe with a Ken doll, and he's blonde and
like Paul Walker.
He's more attractive. I mean, he's just like, and even there's another character in the movie who like falls in love with him. He's so good looking. But anyway, the main gay guy is so unlikable. He's just like one of those bratty, uptight, like and everything is like he's bothered by everything.
Are you talking about Billy Eichner from Bros?
He's kind of obnoxious in that way, except he's not loud. But he comes back home to visit his mom for the holidays, and his high school, like he had this guy in high school who he had a crush on, who's this like straight presenting guy who's very good looking, and he bumps into him because this guy's delivering a Christmas tree to Fran Drescher. So the gay guy's treating him kind of like, oh, like I went to high school with you, and now you're like,
oh, delivery gay romance like B-Boy Blues.
Well, then he's kind of, it just drove me crazy. Like these, like those guys who pretend like, girl, you should only be so lucky that this man, because the delivery guy is very good looking. Like the fact that he's even giving you any attention, and then they're treating it like they live in a small town where there aren't a lot of options. But Milwaukee is a big city with a lot of gay people. Yeah. It's also near two larger cities.
Isn't that where Jeffrey Dahmer was preying on men?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so the fact that like he thinks he doesn't have options is weird, and he doesn't think that.
If Dahmer had options, yeah.
Anyway, he kind of is dismissive towards the guy, and then we find out that delivery guy, he does work for the Christmas tree like lot, but the lot is owned by his dad, and the only reason he's there is because he's helping his dad out because he's retired at like 28 because he made an app and sold it for like hundreds of millions of dollars. So of course it goes how you would think. They reconnect, whatever. I will give it credit for it is very LGBTQ friendly because they're like, it's very open about them being gay. It's not like, of course Fran Drescher is going to not, she's presenting like how you would think she would, like very loving towards her gay son. There really are there's no friction about him being gay. And the rich guy, the one who's in love with the other one, he has said that he wants to come back. He chose to come back to Milwaukee because he was living in Silicon Valley because he wanted to like foster queer spaces. So we see them like going to an event where he's trying to get more like queer people out and about. So I did I thought that part of it was a nice surprise. I didn't expect that from a Lifetime movie, that it would have that messaging. Um,
Which is funny because that Bros is also make kind of poking fun at all of those super progressive Lifetime movies.
well, in this case, I kind of felt like this movie handled that subject matter better than Bros. Because actually, this is a movie about two good-looking white guys
Mm-hmm.
who are like in love and they're super privileged. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't read to like this is how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it stayed true to how these people's lives would be. It's corny, and I didn't like some of it, but
Sure.
I felt like this actually felt more authentic than Bros.
Well, and that's funny. Pat Mills did that lesbian slasher flick after this.
Yeah, but and then Fran Drescher, she doesn't have a lot to do except a lot of like nasally screaming.
Her thing.
Oh God, it's intense. But moving on.
Whatever. Liz Taylor had a terrible scream, and they utilized that a lot too.
Projects of interest, Die My Love.
Yes. So I think we talked about this earlier because Jennifer Lawrence had dropped that she was going to do a project with Lynn Ramsey. Very exciting, right? Well, it's
Right.
It's
See.
that reminded me of Working Girl. Die My Love, based on a novel by Ariana Harwitz, is the project that they're working on. So that's exciting.
There's the prequel to A Quiet Place.
Well, it's a spin-off, I heard.
Oh, it's a spin-off?
Yeah.
I thought it was a prequel.
The language I saw said spin-off, but
I would go with
Michael Sarnowski, who directed Pig with Nicolas Cage, which I did really like. I guess Lupita Nyong'o is going to star in that, and that could be very interesting.
And then
Maimouna Dukure, who
what is that?
Best known for the controversy over her debut Cuties, which I liked well enough, and that was such the whatever, not even worth going into. And I just saw her second film Hawa, which was fine as well. That's where the little French black albino girl wants to have Michelle Obama adopt her. It had some interesting things. She's remaking Josephine Baker vehicle, The Bronze Venus, so that should be interesting.
Okay, unfortunately, there are entries in the obituary section. First, the rapper Takeoff from the Migos.
Oh, yes, I did read about that.
He was shot and killed in Houston last week, which is crazy as hell. He was only 28. Yeah.
Where did Megan Thee Stallion get shot?
Oh, I'm not sure. But, people are saying, or what I was reading is that he had been posting on social media that he was in Houston and that he was like at places with some other person. So the point being that because of his content on social media and other people posting about him, it was easy to sort of triangulate and figure out where he was and where he was headed. So that allowed whomever was probably looking to shoot him to find him.
God.
And yeah, that's just so, it's just scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that sucks. And then Aaron Carter died. He was only 34. He was found, the police report says that they found a man. It was reported that a man had drowned in his pool. So Aaron Carter was found dead in his pool at his home in Lancaster. So that's crazy. But we know Aaron Carter had a lot of issues.
I'm not surprised based on the last thing that I saw where he was the last thing where his sister was tattooed on his face or something. And
well, he went. So he had a little stretch where things were kind of out of control because he did an episode of Dr. Phil, I believe. I remember watching it. Now I can't recall which talk show it was, but he went on there to prove he was claiming that he had never had any STI tests.
Mm-hmm.
So he went on this TV show to get tested.
Mm-hmm.
For all the things, and then we see him being very emotional, hoping because he was concerned he might have AIDS, and it just felt so exploitative. And then and thankfully he didn't have anything except a case of candida. But then that was being attributed to poor nutrition, because clearly he's at one point, because he's taller than I am, and at one point he was at 115 pounds. So of course and then he went on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I saw some of those videos. They were it was just this is a long fall. Mm-hmm. He had a bunch of tax issues. And remember, he came out as bisexual a couple times.
Yeah.
And made all these weird claims against his sister and his brother Nick Carter from the
Mhm.
Backstreet Boys, saying that like they had been abusive. He said his sister like sexually abused him and that his brother sexually abused his sister, and it's just crazy. But it seems like, hopefully he's, I don't know, seems like his mind wasn't at peace, so maybe now it is. Hopefully, since I don't believe in an afterlife, he can be at peace.
Mm.
Okay, moving on. The secret movie for today was a movie that had been requested numerous times by a person, and I finally committed to watching it.
Mhm. I have not seen this since it came out in 2001, even though I own it.
It's the 2001 American criminal comedy drama film directed by Barry Levinson called Bandits. It stars
Mm.
Bruce Willis, Billy Bob Thornton, and Kate Blanchett.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, I had never seen this. I had never heard of it until I had been asked to like watch it. But overall, I thought it was cute. Uh, I think it's too long.
It
It's
is.
doing too many things. What did I like about it? Of course, I don't think I've ever seen Billy Bob in a movie where I didn't like him.
Yeah, he's always pretty
He's
good.
always good. And then of course, Kate Blanchett will always get the job done.
Yeah.
I don't think she's particularly funny in this movie. And then Bruce Willis, we were talking earlier that I think I've always been blinded by how attractive I thought Bruce Willis was, that I think I have to realize that I don't know that I think he's like the best actor.
Because he's not. He's not. It's okay.
um so there's that. The wig game in this movie is something that I should probably get back to, but we should tell the basic story. So
Mhm.
Billy Bob and Bruce Willis play friends who are bank robbers, and they're
Mhm.
like prolific bank robbers, and we find them in prison and they escape. And they escape. Of course, they're trying to like not get caught. At a point, they meet Kate Blanchett. She falls in love with Bruce Willis's character, but then she ultimately falls in love with Billy Bob as well. So it becomes this love triangle. They do get into a fight and separate, but then they realize that the only way they're ever going to sort of like be able to just completely walk away from everything is they need one last big heist to get
Mhm.
enough money to like move to Mexico. An important side character is Troy Garrity plays, I believe, Bruce Willis's cousin.
Mhm.
He's like a stunt person who kind of helps them as a getaway driver.
And of course, Troy Garrity is the real life son of Jane Fonda.
Yeah. Uh, so part of the narrative is there's this like fake reality TV show that's kind of like Unsolved Mysteries, where the host is,
Where Bobby Slayton as Darren Head is doing his best to, I think, seem like Robert Stack.
yeah, doing an interview with Billy Bob and Bruce Willis, sort of. And the timing of the interview was very confusing to me, but it seems like he's interviewing them after they've obviously broken out of prison,
It's before the last big
but
heist.
before the last big
And,
heist.
and the purpose is to clear Kate Blanchett's name so that she can claim the $1 million reward.
So the end of the film is there's a $1 million reward for their capture, Billy Bob and Bruce. But Kate Blanchett's character, the media is kind of, originally she was kidnapped, but then there's video showing her making people question, like, is she also helping them?
Mhm.
So Bruce and Bob, their objective is to sort of clear her name and say she was not a willing accomplice. She was kidnapped. But the final heist is that they call her and say, we're going to rob this bank. And she goes to the police to get the reward. And then the final scene is they're at the bank and Billy Bob and Bruce Willis get into an argument and kill each other in a shootout. But there's a twist. The twist is that Billy Bob, Bruce, and Kate orchestrated this.
Mhm.
So the plan is that their stunt, the cousin who's a stunt man, sort of like choreographed the shootout. So it's all fake bullets and blood. And then the stunt man and his girlfriend are pretending to be paramedics. So they take the dead bodies of the robbers along with the money, put them in body bags, escape. And then they orchestrate this like accident where it looks like all the bodies burned up
Mhm.
and they get away. And then Kate Blanchett was a part of it. And the plan was that not only do they rob the bank and keep the money, but she also gets the $1 million reward.
Mhm.
And then the end of the film is they are in Mexico. the stuntman and his girlfriend get married.
Played by January Jones.
And then Billy Bob, Bruce Willis, and Cate Blanchett are now like a threesome.
Mhm.
The end.
Mhm.
I don't have a lot of notes. I have to say there are a lot of like humorous moments, primarily due to to Billy Bob, I think.
Yes, he's doing overtime as the eccentric neurotic.
The movie is over 2 hours long and it feels very long. And I think it is to the film's to the comedy's detriment because there are long gaps where like I feel like they're trying to foster this romance that just do not work.
Yes, and, in my mind's eye, 20 years ago, I thought I would have told you that they were brothers, but they're not.
Well, they're pretending to be brothers.
Yes.
So that's why you would have thought
Yeah.
that, but then we find out they're actually not. And that's what causes Bruce and Billy to get
I think we take too long to get to Cate Blanchett's character.
Well, it takes it's at the 30-minute mark where Cate comes in, and that's where things liven up because
Yes.
now we have the two guys sort of vying for her attention. Well, it's more like she likes Bruce and Billy Bob because he's playing sort of like a neurotic. And that's where I think the comedy is best served.
Mhm.
But yeah, the first 30 minutes are kind of like, it was a rough start because they break out of prison by stealing a concrete mixer that was on the prison grounds that
Mhm.
like an inmate could just walk up to it. And
Mhm.
Bruce just walks up to the concrete mixer and then takes off. And Billy Bob hops on. They break through. There's a chase scene. They're able to like hide and they steal multiple cars. And so, yeah, I was waiting for the humor for like a while.
Mhm.
So that was a little disappointing. I think the movie's doing too much because it I think it would have worked well as either like these two guys break out of prison and then maybe that's like half the film and then the second half is they meet this woman and then they're fighting for her attention. I think that could have made a really funny movie or it could have been a heist movie where the bulk of it is this love triangle trying to do this ultimate heist. But then, of course, there's going to be some weird shit because the two guys really want the one lady. I feel like there could have been so much more done with those two ideas, but instead they do both. And then in the center, so it's like 30 minutes of one, 30 minutes of the other, and then an hour of like this romance that there's just zero chemistry.
I don't think there's chemistry between any of them. I feel like as an audience member, I have chemistry with Cate, but
Yeah.
I don't feel like I find any of them particularly interesting. And that and she, the big thing is she's like, I'm going to leave you guys because I need you both because together you're the perfect man. And it's like, oh no, not at all.
Yeah.
But of course, her singing to Bonnie Tyler in the car is one of the highlights.
There is a lot of good music in this movie.
Yes, I forgot
they spent money on this music.
I forgot they used that U2 track.
Yeah.
Beautiful Day. And Cate and Billy Bob Thornton were nominated for Golden Globe Awards in their performances, which is, fine.
I think Billy Bob deserves it.
I think Cate, that hair is red.
Okay, the hair. I mean, the wigs are meant to be bad. There's no way they thought they were good wigs, but
I don't know. Bruce's long hair.
Oh my God. Bruce's long hair that's supposed to be his actual hair, I think, is so terrible. But then they're wearing like bad wigs on purpose
like
throughout the film.
Lestat.
And it would be funny if someone would take like screenshots of all the wigs and just make like a little Instagram page honoring it because they're really bad.
Yes. But every time I see Cate, I keep thinking of that Jean Harlow movie, Redheaded Woman, and there's the theme song of that.
Can we take a quick break?
Uh-huh.
Okay, sorry. They're known as the sleepover bandits because they like they'll find like a bank manager and then like break into their home, hold them hostage, and then in the morning take them to the bank to do the opening setup so they can get into the vault. So the first time we see it, I forget who that family is, but the woman playing the mom.
Oh, Stacey Travis.
I thought she had a really good scene because he's like they're forcing them to all have dinner with the kids, and the kids in the movie are played by two of Bruce Willis's actual kids, and they're all sitting at the dinner table, and the mom is crying. I thought that was really.
She was good. And
she was good.
You've seen her in a lot of stuff. Character actors.
I thought she was good,
as well as the dad played by Brian F. O'Byrne.
There's a moment where Bruce's character is asking Cate like, "What, like?" You need to relax, do things you like to do. And he's trying to come up with ideas for like what this woman might like to do. and he's telling her like, I mean, you could drink margaritas or get your toes painted. For some reason, I thought that was so funny that that's what he thought this woman would like want to do.
The plot point of the sleepover bandits, I think Soderbergh recently kind of did something with that in No Sudden Move.
That would make a great movie where it's just like these bank robbers who that's their thing, and the bulk of the movie is everything that could go wrong. Although, isn't that the plot for that movie with Dennis Leary, The Ref? Isn't he like a burglar who gets
He's a
stuck?
burglar. Yes, they get stuck there. Yes, there are a lot of plot. As an older person now watching this and having watched many more films since then, it's like, oh, there are a lot of familiarities. But even that are recycled since this, like Ambulance. I wrote that down. There's something that's the staged death with the ambulance is
No, it's familiar. No, it's akin. Ambulance is akin to this story in that when they're at the bank, like towards the end of the movie,
yes.
there's a cop who asked to come into the bank to get money before the bank opens and doesn't realize that it's being robbed.
Oh no, but there's another cop that is there's tension and anxiety because he's coming to the bank while they're trying to rob it because he's has fancies one of the tellers.
Oh, that's right. So they actually, they,
along with Patty Hearst, who they directly reference, and Thelma and Louise, like the husband getting on TV and
I also didn't love the fake like reality show or whatever that
either.
was. I really didn't like the guy playing the host. I thought it kind of confused things because it also makes it seem like the first hour of the film is like us worried that they're going to get caught, but we know they're not because they're on a show where they're talking to someone after they've escaped. So I feel like that took a lot of steam out of it. Just was like the stakes are very low. I know it's not a drama, but it's also not super funny. And then like there's a romance. So it just felt like the romantic part, the heist part, with the procedural aspects of it, the love story, and then the straight up comedy component. Of those four things, none of them are really that well done. So I did find it a little tough to sit through. It definitely feels 30 minutes too long.
It does. I think I had held it in higher regard in my mind, but again, I haven't seen it since 2001. There are things I like about it.
Billy Bob and all his ailments, I thought were the funniest parts.
Yes.
Like him constantly complaining about some condition or
Bruce Willis is gaslighting him by making him think he has a brain tumor.
Because they're family. And then when he finds out they're not family, it's like, I don't have a brain. I'm not at risk for that.
It made me want to also rewatch A Simple Plan, where Billy Bob is also quite good, and in a trifecta that includes Bill Paxton and Bridget Fonda.
Oh.
But yeah, for me, the most interesting person is Kate. And then Troy Garrity, I think, has little to do. This is right before he did Barbershop. Maybe the same Soldier's Girl is somewhere in there too. But he, of course, is a plot point. And then January Jones is lurking about in the periphery like what's her face in American Graffiti, Suzanne Summers in American Graffiti, or who's the model in all the National Lampoon movies with Chevy Chase?
Christy Brinkley.
Is it Christy Brinkley?
I believe so.
She's like this beautiful.
Well, she's no Christy Brinkley.
Again,
she's more like a Claire Danes. But go ahead. January Jones?
I don't think January Jones compares to Claire Danes even.
Wait, now hold up.
I don't really.
Let me look up January.
I don't care for January Jones as a screen presence, but she's lurking around here and has questionable hair as well.
January Jones is on the level of Claire Danes.
No, Claire Danes is more beautiful. Who cares? But
well, we're not going to put them with Christy Brinkley.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm saying how she's used in the film.
I will always take a stand for Christy Brinkley and Michelle Pfeiffer, because those are some fly white ladies. So
Sigourney Weaver,
she is
Charlotte Rampling.
Well, Sigourney Weaver is different though. She's like statuesque and like strong. So she's I think about Sigourney when you have these like women in action movies who are like, you're not badass. You don't even look like you could handle a punch.
Right.
No. But anyway, the January Jones character I felt was pointless. And then we see them getting married. Like, who cares?
Like, I don't care about these.
This movie's too long. Like,
yeah,
I don't
like we could have. I didn't need any of that. But yeah.
What would you give this movie?
I'm waffling between 2.5 and 3.
I think. Well, for me, 2.5 means like okay, fine.
I'd say 3 then, because it was. I like these people. Barry Levinson is a good director. He's probably best known for Wag the Dog and Rain Man. You've seen his reality, his found footage horror film, The Bay, which I have decent memories of. And his son, Sam Levinson, is the creator of Euphoria and directed a film I liked called Another Happy Day.
I would give it 2.5. I thought it was okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't watch it again. And I wouldn't, if someone said, oh, I've never seen Bandits, let's put it on. I'd be like, I'm going to go upstairs and get on TikTok. I don't know. Okay. So I think we have like 3 videos that are set to go up. Oh, in 2 weeks. So is next week a light week?
No, not per se. Next week is Black Panther, which you're not allowed to come to.
I'm not allowed to go to, which is racist.
Yes.
And then
next week is also The Menu and The Fablemans.
Oh, the Menu's where they have the secret dinner. Mm-hmm. I'm anxious to see that.
The Fablemans is also next week.
I'm not interested in that.
Oh, so we're not going to see it?
You already saw it.
But not to review with you.
Oh.
I mean, you know it's going to be nominated for Best Picture. And Little White Michelle Williams is acting her little heart out in it.
The only Michelle Williams I know is from Destiny's Child.
I know you always say that, but...
I also rep for Michelle Williams.
I'm still hoping you watch Nocebo, which I kind of enjoyed with Ava Green. And we also have to watch The Wonder this week.
Okay.
But yeah, there are a couple things.
All right. Are you reading anything of note?
I'm reading.
Oh, did you want to talk about before you get to that, do you want to talk about the play you went to go see?
We saw The Mouse Trap, directed, I don't know who the director is, but it's
I can tell you.
An Agatha Christie play. And I'm very familiar with Agatha Christie's novels, like her Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple mysteries, but I'd never seen.
Well, it's directed by Jules Aaron. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming that's a local person, but it features someone who you know. Mm-hmm. So that's why you wanted to go see it. Mm-hmm. So we went. I had a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I always think I want to go to more community theater, and then it's just like there's never any time. But right. I would say support local theater. The season has already started, so I probably wait until next season to buy. Mm-hmm. Season. So this was at the Group Rep Theater, which is in North Hollywood for anyone in LA. Mm-hmm. And so 6 shows. A season ticket holder is only like $150.
Yeah,
that's $25 a show. I think that's so reasonable. Mm-hmm. It's a good fun night out. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would definitely. And I like North Hollywood.
Yeah, I do too.
It's just, well, you know what I mean. It's just like you can go have dinner and
parking is so
see
easy.
The show. Yeah, parking's not difficult. Highly recommend. But anyway, you're reading
a collection of short stories by Dennis Cooper called Wrong, that are known as the author of Frisk. And I hope to read The Sluts very soon after it, kind of because you and I are also working on something else.
Nick and I have decided that we want to make our own our own feature film. It would be very low budget. But
yes,
I feel like it's doable. We have a director who has done some shorts, who's interested in assisting, and then we need to come up with a budget. I think that we've known people who've made feature-length films for similar budget that came out quite well.
Sure.
So I think as a first film, I'm pretty excited about the prospect of doing it. And I feel like with my business savvy and your artistry, we can...
together you make the perfect man.
We can achieve something, but of course, as details become more solid,
we've only just.
It's very preliminary.
Yes, very
but
preliminary.
Once I start needing money, everyone will know because that's all I will talk about.
Joseph will
until I get the money I need.
I'm glad that you are good at that because I'm terrible at asking anyone for anything.
No, I think. With the smallish budget and our own contribution to it, I think my idea is that we're going to say that we'll match whatever people give us.
Sure.
Up to a certain amount, obviously. And then,
like my retirement plan.
Yeah, we're not going to dip in anyone's pension retirement plan. Yeah, so that's something that's exciting. I feel like by the beginning of next year, there'll be like something more solidified.
Yes. Also, we both joined Letterboxd. We have separate accounts.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So I have been feverishly. God, it takes so long because I have a spreadsheet, a personal spreadsheet going back to everything I've seen since May of 2008. So I'm entering everything chronologically from when I watched it. So if anyone's interested in that, be sure
I
to
noticed
take
a
a
few
look.
comments like you need to add people who are adding you, and it's like I mean I don't know what Letterboxd is. I'm just adding things. So I think once I finish
Yeah,
that,
I have only entered about 2,000 entries and I have 11,000 to enter. So
yeah,
I'm not
and
doing anything else until I finish that.
right. So until I enter, which is going to be a long time, I'm not probably going to be like an active participant
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
because I'm assuming it's similar to all the other platforms where there's a feed and you can see what people are doing. But yeah,
I am really interested because I had to change because I actually set up this account in 2020 and never touched it. So I wanted to change my name to align with my Instagram, which I had to pay for. But
paying for it,
there's so much interesting information via analytics
yeah.
based on your entries. So it's like, which, very just personal to me that I find interesting. It's like, oh, like your viewing patterns and where you're watching things from. I don't know. I find it interesting.
Yeah, I think it's worth the money for you to see the stats. But yeah, because it does like highest rated decades, all the different languages and countries. The like Letterbox has lists of like the IMDb top 250 and like best like box office all time whatever, and then it shows like what percentage of those you've watched
And then you can create your own list,
and you
which
can yeah, and then it even says like which actresses you've watched the most or which
Mhm.
directors. I think that's actually really interesting for I can see people being interested in you in that, so I feel like your letterbox will be very
Well, I
valuable.
think people will be as equally interested in yours. You'll just have less entries.
I don't think, well, just to be clear, like most of the things I watch were not at my own accord, so I feel like your list is more organic to like what you have interest in. I feel like most of the things that are on mine are not movies I would have watched on my own.
Sure.
But yeah, yours is much more interesting. So yeah, it'll be I think once you're done, it'll be something that I could see people.
I mean, based on the people that have followed me so far, I see how many entries they have, and 11,000 is going to be a lot. I feel, right.
Yeah, you always want some credit. Do you have anything else?
No, but I'll leave you with a quote from Bandits.
Oh, thank you.
Love is a wish that lives in your heart.
Goodbye.